Yeah.
Yep.
And the focus looked pretty good too, I think.
Perfect.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings be upon you. So first we're gonna talk about TARBIYA. TARBIYA is a word in Arabic that means like basically like upraising or cultivating like
pious children.
Yeah. So in Islamic context, TARBIYA means the process of nurturing, educating, developing a person spiritually, morally, intellectually, physically, in accordance to how the Prophet peace be upon him taught us. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yeah. So we're gonna talk about first the literal meaning means to like raise, or comes from the root rabia, or root word is rabia, means to like to raise or to bring up or to care for.
Yeah.
And another video I was talking about the word cultivation, and to cultivate, and it has the word cult in it. The actual word, the root word cult means or cultivate is like tending to or aiding to. So like and it comes from farming actually. So when you our farm culture in the farming is like the method you use to plant or tend to the fields.
Yeah.
And like culture, it was kind of like derived from that, with the idea of how you take your intellectual inspiration, like the thoughts and minds, and create something else, similar to how you create a garden, or you create like a farm or agriculture. You grow food. They have a system but you take what's there and you make something good out of it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but TARBIYA is a word. How do you do that? How do you cultivate a person or a culture with the teachings of Islamic teachings, and that's what that's what we think of, and as Muslims, but also as parents. You're a parent.
Yeah.
How do you go about that with your children? You know what I mean? That is the question. That's something you want to think about.
Yeah, that's a heavy question there. That's definitely thought provoking. So mashallah, I'm blessed to have children. I'm blessed to be able to see my next descendant, and it's a huge responsibility, because sometimes as a father you tend to be in your own head a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, say for example, if I have my oldest son is right here, he has an ability to I have to repeat it more than once for him to move. Versus the baby, there's a different way you will attend to him versus his older brother. So with Zahir, he's at the age where now he's looking at my example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one way for me to cultivate him, especially being born in the States and living in a world where I wouldn't call it chaos, but living with so much stuff going on where it's easy for him to get distracted, is when we are home, I try to follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you try to be as soft and as nurtured as possible towards him.
Yeah.
And he's at the age where when I was his age, I didn't like the way how my mom shoved down Islam down my throat, and which growing up as a teenager, I became rebellious to it.
Yeah.
It didn't take me into my young adult age for me to reel myself back into Islam, because I know what is the truth. But when I was young, because my mom specifically, she shoved down Islam down my throat so much, so hard, to a point like she didn't allow me to explore my love for Islam. But versus madrasa this, madrasa that, study here or study there, or force me to do things that at the time I wasn't that comfortable to do.
Yeah.
So now that I have my own children, my oldest son, for example, I don't try to shove down Islam down the throat. He comes to me and asks me questions, and I allowed him to explore I basically allow him to explore what Islam is.
Yeah.
I don't try to, don't get me wrong, I do regulate his actions when it needs to be. praying time, for example, or eating with your right hand, or cleaning
Yeah.
yourself after using the bathroom. Certain things where I have to regulate, like I have to remind them like this and that.
Yeah.
But however, in certain aspect of Islam where, if I don't want to force him to read the Quran. I want him to, when he reads the Quran, he reads it beautifully, not because I have a fear that my dad will punish me, or I have a fear that my dad wouldn't let me go outside if I don't do this right.
Yeah.
I want him to learn to love Islam.
Yeah. So, and those are really great points, and that's something that there is a way to do that, and that's funny because this is something I've heard, how you teach your religion or your ideology as a faith or as a ideology, versus teaching it as a cult, like the word cult that is used in this modern sense today. And that's something. Another, just going back to the word cultivation. In the modern text, the word cult has derived into extreme sect or deviation of a religion, where it's taught black and white code, this and this. Whereas, you take the culture of Islam or the culture of a faith is the customs and things that are general and that are not 100% mandatory, but the things that make it overall what it is. And so that's going into definitions, but that is interesting. I saw a lecture, a brother was talking about how to teach your faith like a cult versus teaching it like a deen, like a faith, like an actual way of thinking. And so the difference is, like you said, do this because you have to, versus this is how you do. This is an approach to things.
Yeah.
Like, for example, pray because it's mandatory, versus pray because this will teach you spiritual discipline, help you find peace, and it will cleanse your heart, and it give you focus and things like that, and ground you for a moment while your life is paused from life. So, in one hand, a kid can be like, "Oh, I have to pray just because my mom told me," but I don't know. But when she's not looking, I'm not going to do it. On another hand, you can be like, "Well, I feel like I need to talk to God right now because I need to this tension I have. I need to get closer to Him," and so that's the difference. Where it's like, I'm doing it just because. That's very cult-like in the derogatory tense.
Yeah.
Versus
culture.
When I have an issue, I'm gonna use the teachings that the TARBIYA, the raising, the way I was raised with the Islam and how the benefits of it, and approach it, and use it as an ideology. And this is what people say sometimes. Another distinction, people will say religion versus an ideology. Sometimes they hear this divide because religion sometimes, and today, people will take it like a book you put on your shelf. Like every week, every Friday I'll go to Jamal. That's it. Or every Sunday I'll go to the church, but then the rest of the week I'm doing whatever I feel like, without any God consciousness, And we're all guilty. We make mistakes and do things. You forget sometimes that you need to be on your P's and Q's, but not having any awareness is when it comes to an extreme where it's like you're never conscious of your actions. That's when it's like, oh, the religion is just you pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. But versus when you have an ideology is like, okay, I'm not going to do anything that's going to take me away from God or is going to ruin my life because this is what I'm following. I'm not just half-time, part-time Muslim, not part-time whatever. So going on to the TARBIYA, it isn't just about a classroom education. It's moral and spiritual cultivation. It's about shaping character, which is akhlaq, faith, which is your iman, and good habits, which is amal, right? Amal saleh. So it includes spiritual development, strengthening your relationship with God through prayer, through remembrance, which is dhikr, right? Remembrance, and sincerity, which is like when you purify your intentions and you do it honestly, like I have a reason for why I'm doing this. I'm praying Fajr early in the morning because it will benefit me, not because someone.
Yeah.
So that's the spiritual development. I'm going to resist this negative thing because this will ruin my soul. The feeling that I get,
The guilty.
the the untangible, but the very real felt essence of your soul. I'm not gonna steal from this person, even though I get every good thing from it. I'll take their belongings, I'll take their food, their money. I get richer. I get I feel better physically, right? But inside it, if you do that, something is a black dot is placed on your heart that starts growing, and now you're
faster.
So that's the spiritual development. That's just number one. What are your thoughts about that spiritual development?
So with spiritual development, right? So in the Air Force, they got this saying: integrity first, service before self, excellent all we do, right? So I try to raise my children by that specific code because, with spiritual development, it always starts with having integrity. Now, when we look at the definition of integrity, it's doing something nice without nobody looking. You know what I mean? So you do something not because you want to see people. You do something not because you want people to see you, but you do it because you want to do something good.
Yeah.
So I try to install that to my children to have integrity. I'm not always going to be there. I'm not always going to be home. I'm not always going to, remind them to go pray. I'm not always going to remind them, hey, did you clean yourself after using the bathroom properly? I'm not always going to remind them, hey, you have 4 hours left to fast. I'm not always going to be there to remind them or to do things for them. Rather, him and his brother need to have that habit of having integrity. The oldest one, I see it, obviously he's still a child and he has his mishap here and there. But, I think I did a good job to try and install integrity in him. So there's certain times where, he has shortcomings, obviously. He's only 12 years old, so he's going to have his shortcomings. Yeah. And, Dad, I don't mind. There's a small faulties here and there. It's okay. That's a part of growing. That's growing pain. But, certain things where, I don't remind him. Example, him praying by himself. Yeah. When I'm at work or I'm cutting in between traffic or I can't make it home on time, or him looking out for his brother, i.e. he's when they eat dinner together, he makes sure that his brother, he cleans after his brother, he cleans after himself, or when I go home and the trash is already he's already taken out the trash without me reminding him. Yeah. It's all boils down to integrity and having self-discipline.
Yeah, so and that gets into the next point, number 2, where we talk about moral education, and I have it written down here. So cultivating good manners, honesty, patience, humility, and mercy, right? And these are ethics. These are your morals. Your manners, which is your akhlaq in Arabic, and that's the way you behave. So how do you install that? This, I think, connects to your spiritual development because it ties into just being kind of a generally good person, and all these points bounce off each other. You'll see when you have good spiritual health, you'll have good moral health. Or if you have good moral health, you might have good spiritual health. The two, they kind of reflect each other. So that can, for children, raising children, that kind of ties into the things you said about, we have table manners. When you're at the table, dinner table, how are you going to eat? You say with your right hand, you say in the name of God, and you be clean. You clean up after yourself. Clean up after your siblings, if you're the older sibling especially, to teach them that leadership. And if your brother did you wrong, to forgive them, say sorry, give them, hug it out, things like that. That's the things parents do a lot of times. They just make up for it. You can't just hate each other forever.
I agree.
So the next thing I want to talk about. Intellectual growth is the third one, and then so the third one we're going to go into intellectual growth is just reflection. Encouraging reflection, knowledge seeking, and wisdom. So I always see that especially when you're talking to a young person, is asking them why they did, if they did a good thing or did a bad thing. Well, why did you do that? And having them talk about it, or even yourself as an adult, like, think about the mistakes and things you've done. It's like, well, why did I do that? And I think that it kind of forces you to kind of think about, to find wisdom and the efforts and the issues within yourself, so that you can overcome it.
Yeah.
And that's how you grow intellectually. It's just kind of understanding yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, like, going back again to being a parent, right? So, my first early stage in life, my first early stage in parenthood, you know, I wasn't thinking, I was thinking rationally, but I wasn't thinking as an experienced parent. This is what I mean. You know, my oldest boy, he's very different. The way how he's not a cookie cutter type of kid. You know what I'm saying? You have to customize the experience for him, or else he will not respond the way how he should respond. I'll give you an example. There's a few times where when he was like 4 years old, I used to raise my eyebrows like, why would you do this?
Yeah.
And then I used to get frustrated to a point like I used to make myself mad. And later on, I would like regret my action, or regret saying regret my action I did towards him, because I knew in his mind is innocent. He doesn't know what he did wrong. Me getting frustrated, asking him why you did that, he's now answering the way how I think he should answer, and then I get frustrated because of that. It took me a while to understand that not every kid will be the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the way how from that specific period to now, the way how I ask him, I no longer ask him why do you do it. I rather ask him what made you feel like it's okay for you to do this, or what went to your mind when you thought this was going to be okay.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Then versus because if I ask the question why, automatically he seized up, or he's afraid to say what's going on because of the consequence behind it.
Yeah.
But when I ask him questions like how or when or things like nature, where I'm trying to explore the way how he felt at the very moment, why he did that, which gives me a better perspective on his reasoning. You know?
No, absolutely.
And so, you know, now it got to the point where like he understand how to move. You know, like he's very sympathetic. He could once I seen him interact with some of his friends, and you know, I'll give you an example. When he was in class and one of her they were doing the raffle ticket thing, and everybody won except for one of the girls, right? So him understanding that the raffle ticket we could get again tomorrow, he decided to give that raffle ticket to one of his classmates, so she could feel better.
Yeah.
So that right there, as a father, that's a very proud moment. You know, it's like I installed that in him. You know, it's not a lot of, I mean, you know, it's not a lot of good that I've done in my life, but however, seeing that my son is a reflection of what I taught him, it gives me a proud moment.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I almost wanted to cry a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. No, that's true. That because you know you see the good in you through your children, or you see the potential that they have to be better than you.
Yeah,
and that's all you want. That's all you care about, is that I made mistakes, but they can live on better than I did.
That 100%. My children, my boys are the only men on the face of this earth that want them to be better than me.
Yeah.
You know? I'm a very competitive man. Any field I get into, I have to be number one, regardless of the obstacle in front of me. However, and my children, like, they're the only two humans, my boys, they're the only two humans that I want them to be better men than me.
Yeah.
And to see that what my action that I'm doing, the example that I'm setting up in front of them, they're following it to the T, helps me keep me on point as well, because I know that behind my back somebody's watching my action.
Yeah.
You know, as long as I could present myself in a way where, like, small little things, like the itty bitty small things, where like my son is now, he's picking, they're here now, he's picking up the context, the clues of certain things. Like, example, when we go out to the store together, and I have his brother on the stroller, and there's a lady that walked past us, he'll detach himself from us, and he'll run to the door and open the door for the lady.
Yeah.
So like certain things, like it took me a while to coach that in him.
Yeah.
But once I got it going, it becomes like a habit to him. He does it without him thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it means a lot for me. You know, to him, it's just, oh, that's what dad is. That's what dad taught me or coached me to do. But in reality, as he progresses, getting older, he'll, you know, that will set him apart from other men, inshallah.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it gives me pleasure. You know, it gives me a reward to knowing that, you know, I'm doing something right.
Yeah. We got, just because of time.
Yeah.
So we got the last one is social responsibility, and this is learning how to contribute positively to your community and to the people around you.
Right.
And part of that, it's like making salah in the masjid.
Yeah.
Part of that is volunteering and giving out food. Part of that is giving zakat, charity. Mm-hmm. You know, part of that is participating and doing a job, working like that's in a job that supports the community, like being a plumber, being an electrician, being something, being a handyman. Part of it is, you know, these type of things, giving a service, being a police officer or something like that, protecting people, and fighting in the military in a sense. If you had a military that was like actually defending the land, you know, if you had something that was actually, you know, just in a general sense, you know.
Yeah.
So that would be social responsibility, being a firefighter, being like whatever. And these are all things, these are all connected to your faith, because this is what you're set here in Surah Baqarah. Allah says, we sent Adam to be a leader on earth and mankind, to be the ruler on mankind, on earth, I'm sorry, to take care of the land, to tend to the land, to cultivate the world, not to just be. So that's kind of like how the TARBIYA, the Islamic perspective, like, what is your purpose? What is your intention? Why are you here as a person? Why you have this limited life? You're supposed to come here and do good and cultivate this world and follow these rules. And then when you pass away, this is what you left behind. And so TARBIYA happens. And so in practice, just to review, TARBIYA happens through parents raising their children with Islamic values, teachers and scholars guiding students in knowledge and conduct, self-discipline, and reflection on your own spiritual journey, right? And you purify your own soul, right, and yourself. In the Quran and Sunnah, so the Lord says, in Surah Fatiha, Allah calls Himself, Rabbil Alameen, the Lord of all the worlds. Yeah. And Rabb also is like Rabbiya, comes from the same root, nurture. So it's like kind of a dual meaning, like the Lord and the nurturer. Same thing for Malik Yawmiddin. Is not just the king of all the worlds. It's Maliki, in that sense, is also it's owner and occupier. So it's like the king, the Lord, the king, but it's not just king. It's owner and occupier. It's because there's Malik, there's Malik, and in Fatiha it's talking about that. Right. And then we'll close it off with this hadith. The Prophet ﷺ says the most complete believer in faith are those with the best character. So, and it says the most complete of believers in faith are those with the best character. So you can believe all you want, but the best of you are those who have tarbiyah, who have a culture that reflects that belief. So having clean clothes, smelling good, speaking good, talking, eating clean, being in good shape, helping others, being patient. There's another hadith just off top. I remember, the Prophet ﷺ said something that true strength is not from how you fight somebody or whatever, how you wrestle, how strong you are. It's by how you can turn away from an argument, how you can avoid an issue instead of blowing up on someone. So that's part of akhlaq.
Are the one who could control their anger and not let anger control them. Yeah.
So that's all. We'll wrap that up today. So that's a good talk on TARBIYA. We'll probably have a part 2
another time. Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. All right.